everyone. So this is the reading lesson for Thursday, April 2nd. Yesterday you completed the sequencing packet, the baseball sequencing, and so far I've only had one person share that with me, and hers was absolutely amazing. She used her first, next, then, and last words perfect. She picked events from the beginning, middle, and end of the story. And she just did a really nice job. So still looking for some of you to share those with me. Remember, I challenged you to 5, and I only have 1, so we have a few left to go. So this week we've been talking, and we read Luke Goes to Bat, and we talked about sequencing. Today we're going to go a step farther, and we've done the vocabulary, we looked at the sequencing packet, which is your skill of the week, and now we're going to go ahead and do the trifold, which is that, remember that piece of paper that I always fold a crazy way. You don't even have to fold it if you don't want to. As I'm looking at mine, I see that it's even printed upside down, so it looks like maybe you don't want to fold it. You can just do a nice fancy flip like this. So sorry about that. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but anyway, so the trifold, these are the important things I want you to remember. If you need to go back and hear the story again, go back to my Monday lesson, Monday, March 30th, where I read the story to you. You can go back to that. You can stop the video when you hear an answer. You can write your answers. Don't worry too much about spelling. Spell the best you can, but when you do these, remember what I'm looking for. Capital letters and periods. I would love to have you restate the question. Remember, that means if I ask you a question like, what color are your eyes? You don't just say blue. You say, my eyes are blue. That way, if somebody walked into the room and you read your answer to them, they would know what the question is. So that's what I'm looking for. Number 1, do you have a capital letter? Number 2, do you have correct punctuation? Number 3, did you restate the question in your answer? And number 4, is your answer correct? Don't just guess. Remember, you might have to go back into the story and look for the answer. It's okay. That 3rd grade test is going to force you to do that. And I told you, I'm always one who goes back, and I always look even if I think I know the answer. So even if you think you're right, go back and just check, okay? If you're right, the answer is going to be staring you right in the face, and then you'll be like, oh, good, I know that that's right. So I'm just going to go through the questions, and I'll read, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to read each one, discuss it just a tiny little bit, and then you can stop the video after I read number 1 and then go find the answer. And when you're ready, you can start at number 2. All right, so number 1 says, this is about characters. How do you think Luke feels when the other kids won't let him play? And then it says, how would you feel? So if you look at this, there are 2 question marks. So how many questions do you have to answer? 2 of them. So in the beginning of that story, when he just wants to play, but nobody will let him, how do you think he feels? And then tell me, how would you feel? So 2 separate responses in the same question, okay? That means 2 capital letters, 2 periods, 2 restating, and 2 correct answers. Number 2, this is a sequence of events. We talked about this yesterday. What happens to Luke after he strikes out the 2nd time? Not the 1st time. He strikes out twice. What happens after that? What comes next? Number 3 is cause and effect. Remember cause and effect? We spent a lot of time on this through the weeks. Because it was raining, the effect was we had to stay in for indoor recess, so cause and effect. Why does Luke believe the ball is the one Jackie hit? Remember that ball that was up on the roof at the end of the story? He and Grandma went to Ebbetsfield to watch the game. After he got home, he went up to the rooftop where he could see the field, and he found a baseball laying there, and he's like, oh, this is the one Jackie hit, even though it wasn't. Why does he believe that that's the one that Jackie hit? Then you can do a fancy flip, remember? Number 4, another sequence of events. What happens after Jackie looks back at Luke one more time on the roof? So they're still on the roof, and Luke is imagining that Jackie's up there, and he says that Jackie looks back at him one more time. There's a question. What happens after that? So what event happened right after that? And then why do you think Luke needs his advice? Why would Luke need advice from Jackie Robinson? What was going on? Think about Luke's performance when he finally got to play. Did he do well? Did he need some improvement? Does he need practice? So again, 2 question marks. What happens after Jackie looks back at Luke one more time on the roof? Question mark. And what do you think? Why do you think Luke needs his advice? 2 question marks. That means 2 capital letters, 2 periods, 2 restating, 2 correct answers. You can do this. There's enough room. Okay. And the last one is about characters. How does Luke change from the start of the story to the end? So here's a little kid at the beginning who just wants to play. He didn't really believe in himself very much. To the end of the story, when he thinks he talked to Jackie Robinson, how does he change? Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, sorry about that. If you look up at these boxes, it will tell you to stop reading after page 51. So what they're telling you is the answer to this is from the beginning of the story to page 51. And number 2, it tells you the same thing where you should stop reading. So these are going to go in order. Isn't that nice? Okay, this is your assignment for today, for today, Thursday. I want you to go ahead and finish it. I would love to see it. I still only have had less than 5 people sharing their work with me. And I know you're doing it because I've been checking in with your parents, but I really need you to take a picture on Seesaw and put it on there for me. Share it with me so I can see it. I'd love to share with other people some responses, and I would love to see if you're practicing what we learned in class. Okay, have fun with this. There aren't many pictures to color this time except for the cover page if you want to. And the last thing I want to say, by Thursday, you should have your spelling packet finished. I'm not going to make you take a spelling test, but somebody from the class took a spelling test and sent it to me on Seesaw and had a perfect score. So you decide, but it's not an assignment. All right, take your time, do a nice job, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.